Flooding. We see it on the news. Submerged towns, streets turned to rivers, and homes swept away in minutes. But here's something that's not as widely known. The way our world is flooding now isn't like it used to be. It's not just the same storms we've always known hitting us harder. It's our climate itself changing in ways that create new, more intense kinds of floods. And as strange as it might sound, our cities and even how we live our daily lives are part of why flooding is becoming more frequent and severe. This isn't your typical story about rain and rivers. Stay with us because today we'll uncover the unexpected reasons behind flooding, how our warming climate is setting the stage for more extreme events, and what lies ahead. First, let's talk about why floods happen in the first place, and we'll get to how we're affecting them in surprising ways. Flooding occurs when water overwhelms normally dry land, but it's not always just from rain. Flooding can result from snowmelt, storm surges, hurricanes, and even sudden changes in temperature. When water levels rise too quickly for our rivers, lakes, and systems to handle, that excess water has nowhere else to go but across land. But here's where things get interesting. Flooding isn't just about nature overpowering us. It's also about us reshaping nature in ways that make flooding more severe. Think about it. We've paved over so much land with concrete, roads, and buildings, making our cities and towns less able to absorb water. In fact, in most cities, only a fraction of the ground is still permeable, meaning that when rain comes, it has no choice but to run off quickly, sometimes too quickly. And that runoff can turn a simple rainstorm into a flash flood event. This kind of urban flooding is happening more and more in cities worldwide, and many people are completely unaware of this silent contributor. Now here's where climate change steps in, amplifying everything. As the planet warms, we're seeing effects on two fronts: increasing temperatures and more intense weather. For starters, rising global temperatures mean the air holds more moisture. For every 1 degree Celsius increase, the atmosphere can hold about 7% more water. That might not sound like much, but it leads to heavier, more intense rainstorms. Instead of a steady drizzle, we're seeing downpours, where a month's worth of rain might fall in a single afternoon. Another fascinating impact of climate change on flooding is something called the atmospheric river. Atmospheric rivers are narrow corridors of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere. Think of them as massive rivers in the sky. And when these hit land, they can dump extreme amounts of rain in a short period. The atmospheric river phenomenon has become stronger with warming temperatures, particularly on the west coast of the United States, where Pineapple Express storms, fueled by tropical moisture, can flood cities overnight. But we don't just have to sit back and accept this as our new reality. There's a lot we can do to reduce the risks of flooding. Cities around the world are starting to adopt green infrastructure. What is that, you might wonder? Instead of relying only on concrete and pipes to manage water, green infrastructure incorporates parks, green roofs, rain gardens, and permeable pavements that allow water to seep naturally back into the ground. Not only do these green spaces absorb water, but they also improve air quality, boost biodiversity, and provide beautiful recreational spaces for the community. It's a win-win. We can also restore our natural barriers against floods. Wetlands, forests, and mangroves are incredibly effective at absorbing water and protecting against flooding. Wetlands can hold up to 1.5 million gallons of floodwater per acre, and yet we've lost so many of them to urban development. By preserving and restoring these areas, we create a natural defense against extreme weather events. Finally, one of the most critical things we can do to address future flooding is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Every small step we take now to curb climate change will have a massive impact down the line. It can be hard to see that impact in our day-to-day lives, but collectively the choices we make will slow down global warming, stabilize weather patterns, and make severe flooding less frequent. It's true that we may see more extreme flooding in the years to come, but it doesn't have to mean an unstoppable disaster. Through innovation, commitment, and respect for nature's role in protecting us, we can adapt our world to be safer, more resilient, and better equipped to face the challenges of tomorrow. Knowing what's behind these changes gives us the power to do something about it. Whether it's supporting green infrastructure, restoring natural flood barriers, or making climate-conscious choices, each of us can play a part in shaping a safer future. So the next time you hear about a flood, remember, it's not just about the rain, it's about our cities, our climate, and our choices. Together, we have the power to make a difference and create a world that's better prepared for what lies ahead.